thanks for, you have a kid. I feel like this is a big lift.
Big ask.
This is a huge ask. Bringing you here.
Are you kidding? I'm happy to be here. Are we rolling? Is this it?
We're rolling.
Let's roll.
It's happening. This is Luke Mones Explained. I'm Luke Mones. Joe List, guest, pillow.
I didn't even want to say pillow because it just looks like its own thing. It looks like a baseball glove because I got the
It really does. I want to play catch with you.
Well, you'd be the first.
You looking forward to playing catch with your son?
That's all I want to do. And it's scary, too, because you have to wait a while because catch at the beginning.
Well, he's a baby. You can't play with him now.
But then he becomes like 5'6", but you throw a ball, they don't know how to catch. So it's just hitting him in the face over and over again.
Right.
So it's going to be a long time. Hopefully the world still exists then, but that's all I want.
Will. My nephew's there, too. They throw, no catch.
Right. You got to roll it back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know rolling back. They throw and then they move on to something else.
That's fair.
You got that to look forward to.
Well, this was I had today. So today, Sarah, my lovely wife, she was podcasting with the wonderful Katie Hannigan, who I bumped into on the train. That's a nice bump into.
Katie, great bump.
One of the great bumps ever. You see Katie, you go, let me take the AirPods out. I'll throw them on the tracks. I don't need them anymore.
You toss the AirPods for it. See, well, no, Katie, I'm not even pausing. I'm taking them out. I shouldn't have even questioned.
Right out.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the great hangs. But anyway, so they were podcasting downstairs. Lady Journey, let me throw a plug in there. Sarah comes upstairs, and the baby started crying. I had him all day, 5 hours. And then he kind of went psychotic towards the end, which just doesn't happen that often, but once or twice a day.
What does that mean, psychotic?
Like a baby crying. Cry like a baby.
What do you do in that situation?
Well, usually you feed him, you try to console, but I had fed him not that long ago, so I threw on some cartoons. You ever heard of Chip and Potato?
No. What do you think I am? What kind of show do you think this is, Chip and Potato?
I had never heard of Chip and Potato either.
Well, I don't have kids. What are you asking me? You think I'm watching Nick Jr. over here?
Well, by the way,
I have a job. I pay taxes.
Can I digress? The other day, my wife handed you the baby. You looked appalled. You almost started crying. We should plug the photo in. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. I thought you were going to shit your pants.
So here's what we're going to do. We'll put
pause. I got a story.
We'll put the photo and then I guess we'll blur your son's.
Yes, please. Although his face adds to the comedy because it's just as bad as yours, but I don't want it out there.
You know what we'll do? We'll have a courtroom sketch artist draw his face.
That's not bad.
Not bad. Go on.
You look terrified. He looks terrified. You're like this.
Well, the reason we've been through this a million times, but the reason I was making that face is you're across the table taking the photo going, ugh.
No, it's the chicken and the egg here because the face came first. Your face came first, then my face resulted from your face. Doesn't matter. Let's all be friends here. Yeah. I got a glove on my hand.
You gotta go. The guy's got a weapon. I got to be careful.
It doesn't matter, but...
That's a funny pillow.
So I go to Netflix. I'm like, let me throw on a cartoon. Maybe that'll help. Because Sarah plays him some bullshit. I don't know what it's called. Miss Rachel, who teaches you how to row your boat.
Now, Miss Rachel, I've heard of.
Is that right?
Oh, I knew Miss Rachel.
Well, all of a sudden you change it too. But anyways, the reason I brought up the picking up the baby, you act like you're Mr. Rogers. You're like, that wasn't my first baby. I'm picking up like you're running for president. You're just picking up babies and kissing them.
Were you talking about the kiss the baby thing that people used to kiss? Were you doing?
I was talking about that recently, but not on stage.
Not on stage. Maybe we were in a green room and you were like, how crazy is it that people used to kiss
I think it was. And I talked about Chappelle's bit. And Chappelle is one of the great jokes of all time, but it's got a word I can't use, which is a bummer because it's a really great bit.
Yeah.
But
we'll put it here. We'll put it in front of the picture of me holding the baby.
It's a great bit. He does George Bush kissing a black baby, and he goes. He's like, I don't like that guy. It's great. But anyways, Bill Clinton would kiss a black baby without pausing. It's a wonderful
right. I remember that bit. Yeah,
great bit. But any farts. So I go to Netflix and I'm like, let me put on a kid's show, a cartoon, which Netflix, I've had Netflix since 1978. My algorithm, they don't know I had a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So I started typing in Bluey, Chip and Potato. It's like murder doc, rape doc.
Right, Kurosawa.
Bloody, Tarantino.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to find what pops up is Chip and Potato. I throw on Chip and Potato like this. He stops crying. He's an angel. He's staring at the TV.
What is that?
He's Silencio. And then while he's watching it, I can't believe it. I'm like, this is unbelievable. He loves this show. This is his favorite show. I Google, when can you start showing kids TV? And it's like, dude.
Don't do it.
18 months minimum. They're like, your kid is going to be, special needs. He's not going to pay attention. I was like, oh! I started fumbling. I punted the TV. We have no TV. I threw it out like Keith Richards. It's
TV's
broken.
out the window.
It's gone.
Trash the hotel room.
And then he went right back to crying, by the way. He started screaming again. So you understand why these moms and dads, they put the kid right in front of the television, and then everyone's all whacked out.
Or the iPad, they're mesmerized by the iPad.
iPad is bad.
You have an iPad?
No iPad. I don't have an iPad.
I've never cared for an iPad.
I had an iPad years ago, left it in my suitcase in the trunk of the cab. The cab left, I never got it back. And it had a couple of illicit photos. Is that the right word?
Illicit of you?
Explicit of my wife, of me. What are you kidding?
I don't know. Imagine, let me see you posing for a tasteful nude like George on the couch.
I don't know. I am a sexy boy. Is that what he says? I can't remember.
I just watched it. It was just on Comedy Central. They're really playing those Seinfeld episodes. So I don't know. I feel like you know, you're not. You don't want to show him it too early, but then what are you going to do? He's distracted.
Well, they said because the reason is when your baby's watching the TV, first of all, they're not getting any of the info. They're not. It's not like they're learning from it. It's just a bunch of colors and lights. And then every minute they're watching that, they're not getting social cues from you. They're supposed to be learning from us and social cues from us and all that stuff. You're supposed to read to them, touch things.
And when you have them watching TV, you sitting them up on the couch?
No, I had him on my lap. I got some great photos of it. I'll show them to you. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's sitting here and he's just, mesmerized.
Yeah.
But it's no good. So I gave him about 4 minutes. So I don't know. Maybe he's gonna have to take special classes or something.
He's gonna have to unlearn.
They said even when they're like 7 years old. So I try to be conscious of not looking at my phone too much because you feel like he's not paying attention, but they're paying attention, I guess.
I feel lucky that I mean, let alone you. I feel like I didn't have a phone until I was in 8th grade. You didn't have a phone until you were 33 years old.
No, literally. I was probably, smartphone, I was probably 29.
That's completely insane. That's
seriously
impossible.
Well, I was late on the phone. I'm not good with the technology.
Right.
You asked me to sign a W-9 and send it back. That's the end of my day. Forget about it. I got to hire an assistant. My pants look like that. I'm looking at the monitor. This is tough.
Oh, I've been going open stance. I've really not been trying. You got a tough one because you're looking over at the TV the whole time.
Yeah, I can't. I look at myself and I
What I'm worried about is I got a lot of foliage behind me. I'm like that.
But you're like the most handsome boy in the world. It's crazy. You got the Kavorka. Women, forget about it.
Feels good. Every time I'm around you, I say it. It's compliment city. It makes me feel good. We had a great time last night. I did your show, Grove 34.
That was an all-timer.
That was a great hang.
Great hang. How was the milkshake?
I didn't.
You went to the diner.
No milkshake.
Well, you went to the diner. You said you were gonna get milkshekes.
I've ordered this before with you, and you got a real kick out of it. I got a Cobb. I order a Cobb salad. This guy acts like I'm Don Rickles.
Thai Cobb salad. No, first, you're a very good eater. You're a very healthy boy. I eat like garbage. I had a waffle and a cheeseburger. I'm not joking.
Yeah. Well, we go to a diner. You order it's like a cartoon. You're ordering like a.
I know they called me kids menu coming up when I was growing up.
That's hilarious
in comedy. But anyways, I got an iPhone when I was 31. Great hang last night. We're all over the road. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Well, I have these things. So basically, what this is, I was just saying before the podcast, I feel like Mike Wallace here.
You are. I'm terrified. I feel like I'm going to start to sweat.
I've never seen notes before.
I've never seen a podcaster hold a bag of notes. You got a Cobb salad and questions written down.
Now I feel terrible. Well, listen, I feel like I've tailored this specifically for you.
Oh my God, the whole show?
Well, a couple of notes.
This episode, you mean?
This episode. I try to make it so everybody. Basically, what it is I'm gonna bring up some mysteries, some unexplained things, and then I'm gonna kick them to you, and I'm gonna see how you feel about them.
Kick them. I love when someone kicks something to me.
And these are you're good. You're a good kick. You're a good kicky.
Now, let me ask you, is this not going well? Because you told me pre-show, you're like, I've had episodes, we never even got to the questions, and we're about 6 minutes in.
The reason, look, I'll throw this away. I'll tear it. I'll talk to you about last night. I'll talk to you about Brendan Sagalow for the next 45 minutes. I don't care. I'm happy to be here. You're a big get.
Yeah, I'm something.
I've been in the shit here. Who
are some of the other guests? Anyone with my kind of, you know what I mean?
Credits? No.
Credits. That's a goner.
Credits done. Credits done.
Feels done. Now it's followers. Followers have superseded credits. And everyone in comedy, this has been talked about other places, everyone in comedy, we hated gatekeepers, no gatekeepers. Now there's no gatekeepers, and there's a lot of real bad stuff happening.
Yeah.
You know, we need is like 3 gatekeepers.
Yeah, bring back a couple gatekeepers.
Give me 2 gatekeepers.
We
maybe
got a
4.
few.
Yes, and comedians themselves have become gatekeepers, which is interesting.
And this brings us back to you. You're kind of you're the gatekeeper here. If we between us.
What are you talking about?
Well, I just mean, I'm having you. You're a big get. You came down here. It was a big lift for you. It's not a lift for me.
But you didn't have to pitch this show to somebody.
I know. Now I feel like now I'm embarrassed by the notes.
I can't wait for the notes. Give me a note. Shove a note right in my ass.
Let me ask you.
Stick it in there. See if I come.
This is crazy. I got some. Well, first of all, where do you stand on? I'm not going to read the question. Where do you stand on the paranormal? You're not a paranormal guy, but because here's what I was wondering about you. You're a spirituality guy, and I mean that in a nice way.
Yeah.
You're deep. You're very mindful.
But philosophy and Buddhism. I'm not spiritual like my granddad's floating over my head right now.
No float.
No float. I don't think my poppy is watching us podcast. But I'm a spiritual guy.
You're a spiritual guy, but the paranormal
consciousness is all that exists.
So actually what I did is I went through and I right before the show and I looked at all these unexplained phenomena in Boston and the surrounding area. So I'm trying to kick that to you.
Okay.
I did a little Lizzie Borden. You guys talking about Lizzie Borden when you're growing up?
I don't know much about Lizzie Borden. She was in a house and was murdered. Is that right?
I think Lizzie Borden killed her family.
Okay. I know it alludes to some kind of, but I gotta say, when you first said Lizzie Borden, when you first said Lizzie Borden, I thought like HGTV. I'm not even joking. Like, oh, does she have a show on a thing? And then I was like, no, wait, that is triggering a thing of like a murder house.
How about Bridgewater Triangle?
I don't know the Bridgewater Triangle. I know about Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, West Bridgewater. These are 3
Bridgewater
towns.
Triangle is an area of 200 square miles within southeastern Mass, claimed to be a site of paranormal phenomena, UFOs, poltergeists, Bigfoot, giant snakes.
This is blowing my mind. Did you say 200 miles?
200 square miles.
Okay, because I grew up in southeast Massachusetts.
I know. I feel like this is. Then I mean, this is
I don't know about it, but I want to know. But I want to learn about it. Tell me about it.
I thought you
Let's
were
do a laugh and learn.
Information.
No, what am I, an asshole? You want me to tell you about ghosts?
All right, here's another one.
There's no ghosts.
Here's another one. Now we're going rapid fire. Rapid fire was really going to be at the end. We're rapid fire. We're 4 minutes into the podcast. We're almost done.
Have I ruined the show? Have I ruined the show? Tell me about the ghosts.
No.
I like a ghost. Woo! I like going to the Comedy Store. They say it's haunted. That's fun.
Yeah.
But surely you're a very bright man. There's not ghosts.
No, I'm not. I really wasn't trying to do ghosts. I was trying to do more like things that we can't explain. Here's one. This is more up your alley.
Okay, please. I'd like to be back in my alley.
Because you're in your early 20s when this happens. This girl was your age, Maura Murray.
Do you know about Maura Murray and me?
Now we have a podcast.
But seriously, do you know?
No, I have no idea.
We graduated the same school. We were on the same track cross country team. I've spent 40 hours on a school bus with Maura Murray.
So here's what's going on here, everybody. This is why we podcast. This is why we dig. You didn't want to do ghosts. You didn't want to do Loch Ness Monster. I say Maura Murray. You know Maura Murray. And now I feel like it's a sensitive subject. You don't want to talk about it.
No, I'm happy to talk about it. This is a weird thing, though, because Maura Murray has become literally the most famous or talked about for people because there's all these sleuthy people that love murder and all that stuff. We all do to some degree.
Right.
Are fascinated by the investigation and murder docs and missing people and unsolved mysteries.
Yeah.
And Maura Murray has become like number one, for lack of a better term, like the most famous mystery.
I mean, and I just looked up, Massachusetts mysteries. You go to high school with Maura. What are the odds of that?
Whitman-Hanson High School, and we ran all the same sports. We ran cross-country, winter track, spring track. She was a big track star, same grade, and she dated a good buddy of mine, a good high school buddy of mine. I'm out of touch with him now, Matt Libby. And they were a hot item. Yeah. So I know Maura Murray well. She was extremely introverted or maybe she wasn't that introverted, but she was certainly quiet on the bus. And I didn't really talk to girls in high school. So I didn't have more than 3 conversations with her, maybe.
I was not expecting you going to high school with her. This is good.
No,
baby.
people are blown away by this. And people look it up. Like I've had people there's like Reddit threads of like, why doesn't Joe List talk about Maura Murray?
I mean, I'm
This is
blown
it.
away.
This is like this is crazy. This is a big get to have me talking about Maura Murray.
Yeah, you have no idea. I'm doing you know, I'm jumping over. I'm over the moon right now.
Well, I mean, but I can't be making light of this because I went to high school with all of her friends. So that's the tough part. I wish it was some.
Well, I'm not trying to make
asshole.
fun of her. Hey, she's missing, fuck her, or whatever. I'm saying like this. It's terrible.
But this is crazy that you have Maura Murray written down there, and I went. I
got a whole page on Maura Murray. I did a lot of research.
I've gone deep dive into Maura.
The thing that really got me on the Maura Murray thing, I was kind of like, it's a standard issue missing person until somebody saw her, and then initially when they made the call, and then when the cops came, she wasn't there, but all her stuff was in the car, and the car was locked.
Right.
And what they thought was blood was actually wine. Oh,
is that right? Because there's been a few podcasts. There's one podcast that's like 700 episodes, and I'm like, that's too many episodes.
Yeah.
But what's from doing a real deep dive, and then I read there's like a Reddit thread, and there was a guy somewhere. I don't know if I could ever find it again.
Yeah.
This is pretty recently, because every once in a while I go back in there because it's really unbelievable. Because I knew her dad, not
oh man,
intimately, but her sister Julie and her dad would be at every meet. We were at 100% of the same events for 4 straight years.
So Derek knows her.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel bad now. I feel like this is a person you know. It's like if you knew Lizzie Borden.
But again, I don't know her. Like we didn't hang out. Like I said, I'm like, we weren't like at the same parties or whatever. But she was always so driven, and she was an unbelievable runner. She would win a race by a quarter mile and then just keep running. And her father was very like. They were very disciplined-y people. She went to West Point for a year.
So she did the Gump.
Yeah.
She kept running.
Yeah, she was unbelievable. Like state champ, the whole thing, almost a valedictorian. I think maybe she was, or top 3 or 4 or whatever. I mean, she got to West Point.
And you're doing comedy, and you find out that she's gone missing.
Yeah, so it must have been 02 that she went missing?
04.
04. Yeah, no, I remember, and it was crazy, and you're just like, oh, wow. But also at 04, that's when, like, I was opening for Dane Cook and Dave Attell. My career was starting to go, and I was really drinking excessively. Yeah. So it was kind of like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to Tom Dust, just hanging out. But, yeah, it's crazy. And then now that it keeps going, and unsolved mysteries are crazy. But anyways, what I was going to say is this guy on Reddit, who's like an outdoorsy guy, like really broke it down, and I think has what happened is that she ran into the woods, and it's hard to believe, but like it could be hard to find her and be traced, and then eventually animals get to a person and everything. But you'd think you'd find traces of sneakers, pants, all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
But the snow and the he wrote it so eloquently. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this guy's got it.
Yeah.
And footprints would disappear because of snow and whatever. Yeah. So, but it's a crazy thing. It's very mysterious, and she didn't really, the ATM and the maps and all the stuff, it's really wild.
And they found bones near where the car was, and then I don't know how they do this. They go and they look at the bones and they go, these aren't her bones.
Right, yeah, because the neighbor, there was something suspicious with the neighbor, and there was something buried underneath, and dogs and all that.
It's amazing to me that not me personally, but if we could look at you specifically, your bones, and be like, these are Joe List bones.
Oh, they're very funny bones.
I have good bones.
You seem like you have good bones.
Luke Bones.
Luke Bonus. The other day, someone said his name rhymes with bonus, and I was like, this is a big contentious spot with us.
Well, to take a
I've changed you.
To take a brief aside, for my entire life, people might even know this. My entire life, people ask me, how do you pronounce your last name? And I say, it's like Jonas with an M. And that's just always how I just explain it to people for my entire life.
Another unexplained mystery, by the way.
Why Jonas? Jonas, kind of an uncommon that people go, like Jonas Brothers. I go, I guess. But then it was very much like the scene in Social Network where he's like, just drop the. You're my Timberlake.
I'm Justin Timberlake. I came in and I said, how about bonus? Everybody knows bonus. You're in the bonus. Luke Bonus.
And then in front of you, somebody said, how do you pronounce it? And I go, bonus? And they go, that I can do.
They say, perfect. Because Jonas, I know the Weezer song, My Name is Jonas.
Yeah, sure.
Which is my favorite side one, track one, debut album song ever.
Of Weezer.
Yeah,
Or
of
period.
any band. Of any band.
Wow.
And not only that, I think it's their best song. So literally Weezer, every single song they've released since their first song,
Since
less
Jonas.
than. But anyways, Jonas, I've never met a Jonas my whole life. I know Jonas from When Harry Met Sally. Not When Harry Met Sally. Sleepless in Seattle. The son's name is Jonas.
His son's name is Jonas?
Yeah. Love the film.
Good movie. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was a life-changing thing. We've had some contentious things in the last. How about this? We've lived a lot of life together. You ever think about that?
I haven't. I met you last year.
I mean, I want to get back to Maura Murray. I have the Dover Demon.
I don't know the Dover Demon.
Dover Demon. Dover.
I went to high school with the Dover Demon. You gotta be kidding me. That's my babysitter, the Dover Demon.
Sounds like a minor league baseball
I
team.
graduated with the Dover Demons.
How about the Boston Tickler?
I don't know the Boston Tickler. I know
You
the
don't know
Strangler.
Tickler.
I don't know Tickler.
Tickler was 2014. This guy was waking up.
Jesus,
this
does
guy
that
was
look like-
going into dudes' apartments in the Harvard area, and he was opening their windows while they were sleeping and tickling their feet and leaving.
How about that?
Sounds like a good time.
Wait, I want to know what kind of life we've lived.
Well,
together.
actually, yeah, I think that's interesting. And again, this is what the podcast is. The podcast is we talk about some mysteries from where you're from. I mean, I'm blown away. You know Maura Murray. You know where she is. I'm just kidding. But then we get into the mysteries and the unexplained things of our own lives. You see, it's pretty deep.
This is a great show. I mean, I'm loving every second of the show. I thought you were
Good.
going to tell me something about Maura that I didn't know.
I wish. I mean, look. I mean,
But seriously, you didn't know that I knew her.
I swear on my life. I swear on your life. I swear on everything. I had no idea. This is blowing my mind. Honestly, Maura Murray was kind of like not even. I had Gardner Art Heist.
Gardner, Massachusetts?
You got nothing on Gardner Art Heist?
I don't know the Gardner Art Heist, but
Say that to
my
me.
accent just came out.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Art
Gardner
Heist.
Art Heist,
Yeah.
but was it in Gardner, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's just crazy because Gardner, that's where the state championship cross country, where I was in Gardner with Maura Murray. Swear to God.
The Stuart Gardner, the Gardner Museum in Boston. Maybe could it be different?
Gardner's a town out in central Mass.
Yeah, it probably wasn't that.
Damn.
Yeah, art thieves disguised as police officers, 1990. They tricked security guards at the Boston Art Museum. The Gardner Museum stole $500 million worth of art. No one knows what happened to the art. No one knows what happened to those guys. I remember I was talking to your pal, my new pal, Chris Walsh.
Love Walshy.
And he was saying that actually the town, I was like, the town, because he's from...
That's one of their jokes in their act. He's from the town, Charlestown.
He's from Charleston. I was like, the bank robber thing isn't real, right? And he was like, no, he's like, I knew guys who, I think he's got hope I'm not telling tales out of school here, but he's got a cousin who got pinched for bank robbery.
Oh, is that right? That sounds like something.
I think so.
I would not. Chris is not a teller of tall tales, so if he said that, I'm sure that's true.
I'm pretty sure he said that, but I'll have to check with him. I want to get back to the life we've lived.
I know.
I mean, it's really a beautiful thing. I feel like we've had a lot of foundational memories. We spent a lot of time together, and frankly, you've taken me on the road. Not this past one, but at the end of the summer when our trip was finally over, you were about to have your son. I think both of us came very close to being emotional.
It was emotional. I mean, I might cry now. I mean, to think I knew you before I was a dad.
I'm going to lose it. I mean, I'm going to come on here. I mean, this podcast has everything. We're laughing. I'm going to start crying. You knew Maura Murray.
Well, you
went to high school with the Dover Demon.
It got so deep, our travel together. Our fans of my podcast started to get upset. People were like, this is crazy. This man's in love with Luke. Why don't you mention Luke some more? You piece of shit. You're gay for Luke. Leave your wife for Luke. They were like, there's too much. I'm not kidding. I mean, it was like a mutiny. People were like, get a new host. This guy can't stop talking about Luke.
So they're not necessarily anti-me, but they're anti-you enjoying my company.
I think they don't like me talking too much about they think I'm having an affair with Mark, I think, or with you over Mark. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, we lived. We went to that baseball game. We were on TV together. The ball rolled down, the game-winning hit. Walk-off.
People don't understand the power of a new friendship.
It's really something else. How about we saw the lady win $300,000 right in front of us?
Now, many people go to a baseball game and they play what's it called? The 50-50? The 50-50 raffle. you know, you half of it goes to charity, half of it goes to you, which really should be, that seems a little immoral. I think it should be one thing. If I pay a raffle, I want the winnings. And if I do a charity raffle, just let me give money to a charity. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean. This is a perfect way to motivate people to donate to charity. Because if you just did charity, no one's giving.
No one's giving. Yeah.
So you raise, I mean, how could you be against the 50-50? They raised $35,000. And then, as it turned out, a working class Latino woman with a boy won $35,000. You're upset by this. We raised $35,000 for Sloan Kettering, and a single immigrant mother from Phoenix made a year's salary, and you're bummed out.
I wouldn't say I'm upset. I would say if it happened to me, I'd be like, give me that other half. Give me the 50.
No, the half goes to cancer or children with cancer or whatever.
Children with, yeah. All right. Then just give my money. Anyway, so this is pretty amazing. We saw a lady win $40,000.
It was crazy. And like she had the big check, the son, she had a little son. He was crying. She was crying. And it just, it was magic. Imagine taking your son to the ball game.
Yep.
And it's just you and your son, and he's over the moon. And then the game ends with you getting a giant check for $40,000. And Luke wants to put an end to this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm anti 50-50. But I will say, I think I might have said this to you at the time. This is the first time in my life I've ever even been around a giant check.
Yeah, I think I've seen a few at comedy festivals and everything.
Oh, you ever, did you win the Boston Comedy Festival?
No, I never won. I came in top 10. I think I came in like 6th place, 7th place was my best.
Winner gets a giant check?
I think they had a giant check. I want to say there was a giant check, but no, I never won. I made it to the finals of the Seattle, top 10 in that, top 10 of Boston.
Seattle still happen?
I believe so. That's a crazy festival.
Is it? And we were just there. That reignited while we were in Tacoma.
Tacoma, baby, where I might move.
What's the status of that? That's another mystery we have to uncover. Are you moving? I mean, I would love to have you on the West Coast.
Not soon. You know, but they say in AA, they say when you first get sober, you shouldn't date anybody. No serious relationship for the first year.
Right.
And my friend recently, he said it should be the same with babies and big decisions. No major life decision the first year.
I see. Okay. So
talk to me in 9 months. Over the west we go.
So once he's crawling, once he's walking around.
Well, you don't want to raise a baby in Queens. My respect to all the Queens people. I mean, and there's a whole list of extremely talented people, of course, from Queens.
Why not?
Forget about it. Nas and the Ramones, just to name a couple.
Yeah. Luke Ramones. Go on.
But yeah, I want a yard and a bicycle where he runs around, like a cul-de-sac, a backyard. I want a campfire and cigars for the kid.
Of course.
You know, I want to
give him a candy cigar.
I want to play cornhole and wiffle ball.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to go out. I'll see you at 5p. You know.
Well, that's not happening anymore. I don't even think that's happening in the burbs. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't live in the burbs.
I'd like to bring it back. Was it happening when you were a kid?
It was happening when I was a kid, although it did once. I was out with my friend and we were doing, I forget what it was. Oh yeah, I was crossing the street with my friend. We were, out just indefinitely. And we waved to a lady who stopped for us. We were crossing. We go, oh, thank you. This lady rolls down her window and goes, hey, that was really what I thought you did. That was really polite of you guys to wave. I've never seen kids be so polite. I'd like to pay you back. Why don't you get in my car and I'll take you down to 7-Eleven. I'll get you guys like some soda and candy, whatever you want.
Whoa.
And I was just at the age where I was like, that's no good.
Wow. That's like Mystic River, but with women. That sounds like a remake. You know how they remake everything? Ghostbusters, but ladies? They should do Mystic River, but 3 women.
Is that my son in there? Come on. Wow. Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Have you ever been close to being kidnapped?
I don't think so. I was just watching a kidnapped doc. No, I don't think so. I don't. I wish I had a story, but
well, you got the biggest story anybody's ever heard of a missing person.
I know people message me. They're like, "Why don't you ever talk about Maura Murray?" Which is so funny because the podcast I do. I mean, I have Mindful Metal Jacket. I know, but like Tuesdays with Stories is not a place for Maura Murray talk. The whole podcast is like, I'd eat my dad's jizz. Woohoo! Like, it's weird to be like, by the way, I know a woman who's been missing for 25 years.
I mean, the fact that you know Maura Murray is blowing my mind. I almost want to end not just this episode, but end the entire podcast. I feel like this is what I've been searching for.
It's it's really something. I wish I had more like juice, or I wish I was like, oh, and then I was there, man, or something. But I really have, most people that know about the case have more info than I do.
Yeah, I mean, is she the most famous person to have gone to your high school?
I mean, I think I'm more famous than Maura Murray.
That's fair.
But
that is fair. You probably are.
But in those
infamous.
missing people, those missing people quarters, I think, and there's also a professional football player who came to a show of mine recently. I believe his name is, oh my God, I'm going to fuck it up. Adam Conover, who's a TV show guy.
The hell is that? That's crazy.
But I think that's his name. I could be wrong. I have to look that up.
Adam Conover, the actor?
I think I'm messing, but I think that is his name. He was drafted and he played some pro ball, like Panthers or something. He was a year behind me or 2 years behind me.
Wow.
Big monster guy. He looks like you, but like fucking football-y.
Okay.
Well,
wow. I mean, what the hell?
I mean, like an NFL guy.
No, sure.
You're not an NFL guy.
No. I mean,
like he's like got like traps and like fucking. He's huge.
That's the thing about those guys who are like linemen is they got big guts, but they're athletic as hell.
He was like a tight end.
Oh, he was a tight end.
Yeah,
okay.
so he's like fucking. I mean, with respect, I feel like he'd smush you.
Of course.
But I meant he's like you. And he's 6'6" and a handsome boy, and you know.
Wasn't Goldman a tight end?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Goldman was a tight end at Boston College.
That's serious.
Yeah.
Did he play?
I don't think he played. I think he played behind. Was it Mark Bavaro? No, I think DePaulo played with Mark Bavaro at Maine, which is great.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you just find out a comedian was a D1 athlete. It just shocks you.
Well, don't you find? Well, Joel Walkowski made the first round of cuts at USC. He walked on at USC. He didn't make the team, but like he wasn't the first round of cuts. That's pretty impressive.
I mean, that's unbelievable. That's huge.
I mean, O.J. Simpson.
That's crazy.
That's what I heard. I hope that's true.
No, I think that's true. He's a good athlete. I mean, I've played a lot of hoops with him, which brings us to the next topic. I wish I had it written down. You're a natural athlete and nobody gives you the credit for it. And I think it's because you wear glasses.
Can we clip this for God's sakes? Well, people think I'm short. They think I'm a nerd.
Nobody thinks you're short. Actually,
you've done meet and greets. You're there.
I've seen it.
Every single person. I mean, I would say 40% of people walk up to me and go, "Oh my God, I had no idea you were tall."
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
it's crazy.
And the truth is, you're about 6'8".
It's great. I'm just underrated. I'm 6'2" and change. I'm all underrated. People don't think I'm an athlete. We had an episode the other day. Everyone's writing, Joe's balding. He's bald. I'm next to Norman. This guy's got 3 hairs left. I'm literally next to a balding man he's got to do like, look at this.
Yeah, no,
I just got a big forehead.
Hair.
Pull up any photo
You're
of me.
not balding.
My forehead's always been big. It's thick.
No receding at all.
Thick.
No
look
receding.
at that.
Yeah, no gray.
People kill for this. There's some gray in the beard, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, a little salt and pepper. Everybody's got pepper or salt in the beard, I think, right?
Athletics, forget about it. I mean, you've seen me hoop.
Here's what's going on, and I wanted to, actually, I should have gotten this up. Maybe we'll put this at the top, but we were, somehow one of the hotels we were staying at had like a half court.
Yeah.
Just in the parking lot.
Yeah, and we were both surprised at each other's skill level.
You in the other direction.
That's right. I just thought you were going to be 360 jamming, tomahawk.
No,
dunks.
I'm not a natural athlete. I mean, I worked to be okay at basketball, but you have an intuitive thing. I mean, I'm passing you the ball. I want to say, and I wish this wasn't the case because I got embarrassed because I've been telling him I play basketball. He's like, I haven't picked up a ball since 2003. I'm passing him the ball. You're making every shot. He probably made, I don't want to exaggerate, you probably made 12 shots in a row.
Wet, folks. Silky smooth. I could pass. I got some handles. I can't really go left, I have to say. I got some weak spots in the game. But I mean, yeah. I got all kinds of, I got a nice, underneath game. I'll play any position on the floor.
But just nobody gives you the credit for being a natural athlete. You, Andrew Collin, another natural athlete.
Oh, see, I don't know Andrew that well. I mean, I don't know his athletic ability. I know Andrew.
Sure.
But I also, by the way, took BP with a professional baseball team. And
that's right.
I struggled in the outfield a little bit, but we were in the mountain air, and I don't know how often you've taken fucking fly balls for the first time in 20 years with professional baseball players. But I did BP. And I grounded a bunch into the ground, hit a bunch into the ground. I'm facing baseballs, but I hit every ball, and then the skipper says, "Let's go opposite field." I mean, I sliced one down the line that in fair territory, and then I turned around from the left side, and put every ball in play from the left side. Now I don't know how many 41-year-old comedians can do professional batting practice and hit from both sides of the plate, hitting balls out of the infield, and then purposely go opposite field. I would say
Very
3.
few. And here's the thing, and again, I wish I were just, it sounds like I'm buttering you up here like a Christmas goose.
Oh, butter.
But I mean, I don't mean to make you sound like Father Time here, but 41 is not, you're no spring chicken.
And by the way, I'll run a sub 7-minute mile at 41. And in my heyday, I ran a 4-minute and 54-second mile.
No.
Sub 5.
Sub 5? But you're at a dead sprint the entire time, aren't you? Sub 5?
Mean, sprint is crazy.
It's a quick run.
That's quick. But I mean, there's like a lot of people in high school that I wasn't even like making states.
I think if I had to run a 6-minute mile, I would die. It could kill me.
6 minutes would be really tough.
It would kill me.
I could run, I'll run I run a lot of 5Ks, and like a third mile I can run like 6:55, something like that. Oh, I can move, baby. And I can fuck. You should see me in the satchel.
You're sexually, can we talk about, are you,
Is this I don't know what kind of show this is. It feels like it should be clean. It's very nice. You're a nice boy.
I'm clean. But no, say whatever you want. Say piss, hell.
Shucks.
Shoot. We'll cut shoot. All right. Well, look, I mean, I got a couple other things here.
Please, give me some mysteries.
Oh, here's a question.
What's your theory on Maura Murray? What's going on here? Give me the goods. What happened? What do you think happened?
I think that whatever happened, nobody kidnapped her, nobody killed her.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you really read about it, because you're like, something would come out, somebody would have said something, and it's just too crazy that like someone would have, it's a remote road in a wintry storm up in the mountains, just a psychotic murderer who's really efficient popped by. And
what's the coincidence that she also the day before that withdrew all of her money from her bank account? Right. I mean, it's silly. When you try to think of it as a coincidence, it's completely insane. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah. So I think I got lost in the woods are treacherous. It's night. She's had a couple cocktails. It's a really it's really sad and
and I think it's more. I mean, like, I'm happy to have had this crazy synchronicity coincidence that you went to high school with Maura Murray, but I feel bad. I feel like this is a
well, yeah, like I said,
people who knew her.
I know people that knew her intimately. Yeah, of course.
Whereas if I were to talk about the redheaded man on Route 44 in Seekonk, where my girlfriend is from.
Oh, how about
about the redheaded man?
I don't know about the redheaded man. I mean, I know Andrew Santino. I think he's a fine comedian and a nice guy.
You might know this guy. There's a stretch along Route 44 where the redheaded hitchhiker has become a phenomenon. And I've heard of this. Motorists have reported seeing a man with long red hair and a full beard walking along the roadside, but when they stop to pick him up or they slow down, he disappears. And multiple people have... You got nothing on this. You hate this.
In Seekonk, this happens?
I think so. And then we're going back to the Boston Tickler, and that's...
Well, I do want to know more about the Bridgewater Triangle. I'd like to know about that.
I'd love to tell you about the triangle, but it felt like you weren't into it because it was a little too woo-woo.
I'm fascinated by it, but this seems the woo-wooiest woo-woo I've ever heard. A redheaded man disappears. What are you talking about?
I mean...
Don't you feel like we're fucking comedians? I don't get... Are we supposed to be like logical people?
No, I'm logical. Look, I don't want you to think that I'm like, Bigfoot is real. He lives in Dover. This is not... I don't know.
I'll tell you who'd be a great guest for this podcast.
Who's that?
He's been mentioned earlier. One, Chris Walsh.
Oh, really?
Chris Walsh loves ghosts. He loves haunting. He is like a horror movie, abnormal, ghosty guy.
Okay.
I'm always afraid he's going to hear me and be like, oh my God, List hates me. Because I'm like, get it real.
No.
This is right up his asshole, though. You got to have Chris Walsh on.
And but this is paranormal, but it's also mystery. You like Zodiac. We both like Zodiac.
Love Zodiac. Masterpiece. Don't you feel like when you fight about art, you have to come together on something? Zodiac.
Well, masterpiece. I mean, you want to really get into it. This is going to take up the rest of the time, but I've come to blows with you over The Sopranos. I mean, people were in the green room last night. People it was crazy. I mean, I've lost my temper with you, and I go, this is what I said. People go, Brendan last night, he was like, chill out. Like he took me aside. He was like, you gotta stop.
Well, first of all, you're not really close with someone until you've had a good argument. So
That's
this
true.
is important
That
for us.
changed things.
But obviously I don't want to get too much in the Sopranos. We'll get in the weeds.
Yeah,
I'll lose everybody here. I want them to come away just saying Joe List is a great athlete. He knows Maura Murray. I don't want it to be deterred by the Sopranos. But obviously, I'm in the minority. Sopranos is the greatest show ever. That's why I had to change my tune. I just don't like TV. But I refuse to be one of these people dancing on a string, like all held by the big shots. Godfather. I refuse to believe.
Yeah.
And I actually think you let your tits get out of control, whatever the saying is, to imply that Stevie Van Zandt, and I think given the opportunity to take a couple breaths, Stevie Van Zandt's performance in The Sopranos and Joe Pesci's performance in Goodfellas are even remotely, like anybody can see the difference in these two performances.
Yes, I agree. And before I met you, I vocally acknowledged that Stevie Van Zandt's Silvio character was cartoonish. My contention, and now I feel calmer. I threw an ashtray at your head last night. I mean, I was going crazy. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, we're in Tacoma. I'm screaming at you in front of the host.
Tacoma was bad. I was like, this is the end of our relationship.
Yeah,
I thought that was bad.
I left being like, I'm off the show.
Tacoma, I was like, my God, this is no good.
I started crying. I mean, it was crazy. But my only thing was, it's cartoonish and The Sopranos is jokey at times, but it's not a world away from so many beloved mafia movies.
I think specifically Paulie Walnut.
Yeah.
And so it takes away from me that I happen to be a Springsteen fanatic, and I've seen Stevie Van Zandt with a bandana playing guitar for all these years. I think their performances are particularly over the top and goofy, where I think these other guys are not, and like Joe Pesci and Ray Liotta. But I do think there are goofy performances in Donnie Brasco, which is why it's not as good, or Bronx Tale, which is not as good,
or The Departed.
And The Departed, of course. Yeah.
You like The Departed?
I love The Departed, but I recognize that Jack Nicholson is being so, because Ronan and I had this conversation where Ronan believes that like that movie's aware of itself. It's being. Yeah, and it thinks it's being campy on purpose. But you think that?
No.
I don't think that either.
Yeah.
I think that like Scorsese is probably like, this is what we're getting from Jack. He's a legend, okay.
Yeah.
When he's like doing like that stuff, it's over the top to me.
There's also, I think, evidence to this point that we agree on. Thank God we agree on this, by the way, because we're going to keep talking about The Sopranos. I was gonna end the podcast and tear up my notes. Maura Murray. Anyway, there's evidence because, like, there's these interviews with Matt Damon where he's like, Jack Nicholson like was just making up huge portions of dialogue, like the whole thing where the she fell funny thing.
Right.
He was just he was trying to improvise like huge parts of it, and I think Scorsese, to his, sometimes to the benefit of the movie, lets the big guys improv.
Right.
But sometimes you have Nicholson, he's kind of been in his own world, and he hadn't worked with Scorsese before, I don't think, right?
No. And I think that Scorsese also known for improvisation, but he said in many interviews, and Pesci's talked about it too, is like they improvise a lot, then they script it from the improv.
Oh, really?
I think for the most part. But Goodfellas, I know they did a little bit of that too, because I remember I listened to Thelma Schoonmaker, I think is how you say your name, his editor.
Yeah.
And she talked about how the scene in Raging Bull, where they're saying, I'll never be heavyweight champ because my hands are too small. What, am I hit you with the table?
Yeah.
That she said that was the hardest scene to improvise hardest scene to edit she's ever done, because there's so much improv and they're shooting with one camera, so you don't have a corresponding reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're in the weeds of film, but those perform, which is another not a straightforward mob movie,
right,
but connected to the mob, and those performances are just so good. Nick, I don't know how to say his name from Raging Bull. From Cheers. Coach from Cheers is the mob guy in Raging Bull, and he's amazing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's his last name?
It starts with a C. It's an Italian name. I don't know, Castellanos or something.
Not Cassavetes.
No, I forget his name.
Look,
Anyways, I grounded to a halting stop,
But-
whatever.
it brings us to one of the final mysteries that we haven't gotten to, which is Whitey Bulger.
Whitey
What do you think of Whitey Bulger?
Bulge.
Here's the thing
Got
I'm
to
gonna
love the bulge.
Here's the thing I got with Whitey Bulger is it a coincidence that why would they move him? Because obviously the thing about him living in Santa Monica for 20 years is fascinating.
Yeah.
And people who don't know that this is what the Jack Nicholson character is based on.
Yes. I think,
Right?
Yeah, I think
More or less?
Yes, more or less. Yeah.
And Black Mass, not a great movie. Didn't love it.
Not a great film. No, over the top.
Wanted to love it. I saw the trailer for
course.
Black Mass and I went, this is going to be my favorite movie of all time.
I read the book Black Mass, which was great. I got really into Whitey Bulger. There's a few Whitey Bulger books. I mean, it's just it's good fun. I love mob and mafia.
I feel like I'm playing good. I'm playing like Battleship here and I'm getting a few good syncs. I'm saying Maura Murray, I'm saying Whitey Bulger, and I feel like I'm hitting.
Yeah, oh,
Cool.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, you're hitting me. I mean, the crazy thing, Whitey Bulger, my uncle. I went to daycare with his kids.
Yeah, his kid, the Dover Demon.
But yeah, Whitey Bulger, one of the most fascinating guys in like American history. It's crazy.
And
Or criminals anyway. It was Bin Laden and Whitey Bulger. I mean, how crazy is that?
I can't believe that they sent him to a prison where they knew there were a bunch of Boston mafia guys or like associated guys, and he died within less than 24 hours of being moved to that prison. That can't be a coincidence.
No, that's insane. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know who did, but I guess he made a mockery of everybody for so long that it's like enough is enough with this guy.
I think somebody at the FBI was like, he embarrassed us.
Yeah, he made a fool of everyone for the entirety of his life because they could never nail him when he was active, and then they
Right.
couldn't nail him when he was on the run. So I think after a
Right.
while, you're like, all right. I think he also fucked with young women too,
Oh, really?
I believe.
Well, he
And
must
also
have. I
was
mean,
accused of being a little gay too. Am I wrong about that?
I don't know, but he's,
I might have brought that up.
he can't. He's not here now, but sure, why not? Yeah.
I think he had relationships with men also, but I could be wrong about that. But I think he was a very underage, rapey, murdery guy.
Well, it feels like
bad person.
if you're murdering and you're willing to kill, I feel like your behavior with, sexually, you're going to be violent. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, just a generally violent fella.
yeah.
Yeah, not good.
Was it ever talked about when you were growing up that he was missing? Because he went missing when you were like probably a kid, right? When you were like a teenager.
Is that right? What year? I don't even know.
94, something
94,
like that.
95. Yeah. I mean, that age I was
think.
too young. I mean, I was into baseball and stuff. And I grew
Yeah.
up like 35 minutes south of South Boston, half hour
Right.
south. So it wasn't like the neighborhood was terrorized by him. I was in the suburbs. So it
Right.
wasn't like he was related to any of it. It was only years later that like you kind of knew about it. And we would go to South Boston and be like, oh my God, Whitey Bulger and
Yeah,
Winter Hill Gang and all that stuff.
totally.
So it was more, I didn't feel any like more intimately involved in it or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about.
My girlfriend who grew up in Seekonk, right next to Providence, knew some connected people down Providence, as they say.
Well,
And,
Providence was one of the last real mob cities in
and
America.
it's still like pretty heavy duty.
Fun fact, fun mystery. When you
Please.
drive from Massachusetts through Providence, that highway's all windy.
Uh-huh.
And supposedly is because they wanted to do all this construction to make it straight, and it was a very mobby town. They're like,
Yeah.
we're not moving any of our houses or town.
Oh, and that's why it's so fucked
So it's
up
like
there.
real zigzaggy. When you drive
Yeah.
through Rhode Island, it does this crazy, and supposedly it was because they were all like this, no.
I believe it. Well, in May of 23, so less than a year ago, a big bridge in Providence collapsed.
Hmm.
And it was like, it completely fucked up the traffic in the city for a long time. And that bridge had been approved by like building inspectors like a month before.
Oh, interesting.
So they think that it was tied in with the mob.
Right.
She might not want me saying this, but Alyssa went to prom with somebody, or the how. Did you go to prom?
Of course. What am I, asshole? I love the prom. I went to many proms. I went to my junior prom, my senior prom, my girlfriend's junior prom, my girlfriend's senior prom. I went to a prom after I had graduated.
That's what I was about to ask.
How about that, Mr. Fong?
How was the post-graduation prom?
I liked it. I don't know. It was okay.
I got to say, if I saw a guy who was in college at my prom, I think there'd be hell to pay. I think I'd be outraged.
Well, lucky for me, I didn't go to college. I didn't go far. I was right down the street still.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, it wasn't like I didn't have a beard. It wasn't like I was like, fingering girls with a fake a Bud Light and a mustache.
You were just kind of hanging out? Well, you were doing comedy?
I had started doing comedy. I was living at my parents, and I started doing comedy. My girlfriend was still in high school, so I just kind of was around.
Wow.
Which is weird to think about. It's so crazy because she stayed with me for that year of her high school.
Yeah.
And then like I was doing comedy, and at that time I would just stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning and wake up when she was coming home from school, which you wonder like why it doesn't work out. She's like going to college. She has her senior year in high school. She goes to college, and like she's just dating a guy.
Yeah.
Who's like waking up at 3 p.m.
You're
and
nocturnal.
Doing one open mic on Wednesdays, like one a week I would do. And I thought I was like, I'm doing comedy.
Then what were you doing the other 6 nights?
I'm an idiot. I mean, that's where like people wonder what a man of my talent and athletic ability is doing so close to the middle of success. I thought I've always been doing the bare minimum, probably up to and including today.
Not now.
Not now. Now, I'm doing well.
You have a child.
I thought, oh, great, I'm doing comedy.
Right.
And I did comedy for almost a year. My first year I did like 50 sets because I just did every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And someone literally said, this guy, Artie Januario, God bless him, who's about 25 years older than me.
Great name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about mob.
Oh,
He was close. I mean, he wasn't in the mob, but he was closer. In fact, fun story about him, tidbit. He's still, to this day, he's like 65 years old or whatever he is, starts his car with the door open and 1 foot out because his uncle told him, like, you always start your car with the door out and a foot out in case it blows up.
Oh my God.
So when he gets in his car now, the door is open and his foot is outside on the pavement. He starts it and then pulls it in.
And God loved this guy. No offense to him, but like, does he think he's going to be assassinated? He's a 65-year-old comedian.
I mean, he might have been telling me a wives' tale. I don't know, but he told me that. But I think also it's just a habit. You get taught something when you're a kid, and that's how you do things.
So this is the guy who told you have to do comedy more than once a month.
No, he said once a week I was doing it. He said, how come I never see you at the other places? And I literally was like this, what other places? What are you talking about? He's like, well, Sunday we all go to the Comedy Vault. And I was like, I'll be there. Yeah. And so then I started doing comedy Sunday and Wednesday. And then somebody else was like, why don't you ever go to the thing on Monday? And it genuinely took me a year before I was like, oh, you hustle. I never knew about hustling.
Yeah.
And I was underage, so a lot of places I couldn't go to.
Right. Then you come here and everybody's doing it every night, all the time. But that was probably happening when you were living in Boston.
I started doing all that stuff because I become pretty successful in Boston when I moved here. But
excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, relatively. I was opening for DePaulo and Colin Quinn and Dave Attell and Dane Cook. I'd opened for Dane Cook. Dane Cook, fun fact, first person to tell me I needed to stop drinking.
Really?
Yeah, I was on a booze cruise in Boston Harbor, and then he was at the Comedy Connection that weekend, and I had opened for him. And I went by, and I was like, I'm going to pop in. And I thought I was like looking normal.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, you can't drink like this. This is crazy.
Oh,
He's
wow.
like, I've never drank. That's why I'm successful. He's like, you need to stop drinking.
He's never drank?
No. And he's like, if you're a funny guy, and he's like, I like you. And he's like, I see a lot of myself in you. He's like, you remind me of me, but you can't be drunk. I never drank like this. You got to focus. And I was like, what a fucking dickhead.
So you didn't get
this guy. Yeah. I kept drinking for 10 more years.
And at the time, he's the biggest comedian in the world, or was about to be.
About to be. He was still at the club, so he was about to be, certainly. But he was my favorite comedian.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is crazy.
Killed. Murdered.
I got to open for him New Year's Eve, 2005. I opened for him in front of 2,800 people. I mean, like,
wow.
I was like obsessed with that guy. He was the murderer. And by the way, I don't have like this, like, that was embarrassing. I used to be into Dane Cook. Like, those jokes hold up. He's one of the best ever.
I love that In the Round special.
Oh, I didn't like that one. But we're 10 years apart.
We're 10 years apart. We have different tastes.
Uh-huh.
You know Maura Murray.
I didn't hate that one. I just didn't think it was as good as the previous ones. Sorry, did I take us too far off the beaten path?
What are you talking about? I'm just looking and seeing if there's any other, this is interesting.
I want to know the Bridgewater Triangle, but tell me what's
Bridgewater Triangle. Well, in the Bridgewater Triangle is the Freetown. Now I feel like I'm just reading things, but you want this.
This is what I want. This is what the people want.
Yeah, this is why people are tuning in. They're going to fast forward to this. In 1980, Freetown? You ever hear of Freetown?
I don't know Freetown.
Freetown State Forest. It's in the Bridgewater Triangle. In 1980, while investigating another local murder, police were approached by individuals within the Bridgewater Triangle who claimed to have witnessed satanic cult activity.
Whoa.
Within the state forest. And there's a lot of murders that were subsequently tied to the state forest. A transient drifter was mistaken for an undercover police officer, murdered in the forest. 2 men were found shot to death on Bell Rock Road. You know Bell Rock Road?
I don't know Bell Rock Road. I don't know where we're at here because I thought it was like Bridgewater, the town. But maybe
We're in Fall River.
Fall River, I know.
We're in New Bedford.
I know New Bedford, the Whalers.
And that New Bedford's, or rather Fall River is where Lizzie Borden was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of weird shit that happens in the triangle. I mean, this is up your alley. This is not supernatural at all. Reports of an escaped emu wandering the forest. That's fun. What do you think about that?
Emu.
Emu Phillips.
I like that.
Thank
You
you very
can't
much.
get a good bagel in Germany. Well, whose fault is that? You know Emo Phillips' favorite city? Dayton, Ohio.
Really?
Went on his honeymoon to Dayton, Ohio.
I mean, that's hilarious.
I mean, that's a guy that's pure funny.
You ever work with him?
No, never met him. Or maybe no, I don't think I've ever met him. You know what? This summer we both were at the Boston Comedy Festival, and he walked by. We were staying at the same hotel, and I saw, but I didn't want to be like. He was like getting a cab.
They give you a plaque?
They give me a big plaque. Comedian of the Year.
No giant check.
No, no small check either.
How does it feel to get a plaque? I've never gotten a plaque. Feels like you're retiring. I mean, you're just at the beginning. Everything's just starting up. You get a plaque. Feels like a gold watch.
Starting out. I've been doing comedy 24 years.
I just mean you're a young guy, not athletically, but everything else. You're young.
Yeah.
You have your whole life ahead of you.
It felt good. I've gotten a couple plaques. I like a plaque. I got plaque on my teeth. My dentist says, "Hi, folks."
Come on. I'll be right back. I mean, I'm in the bush here.
This should be the show. I'm Cannon Norman. You're the new guy. Are you kidding? Luke and Joe.
People are going to be really upset.
No, nobody likes him. He's not popular. You're the voice of a new generation.
So your fans are upset that you enjoy our friendship.
They don't like how much I meant. It was it was visceral. They're like, you got a crush on this guy. Why don't you just suck him off?
This upsets
You're
me.
a fucking piece of shit.
This
we get
upsets
it.
me.
He sucks. It's like I tried to put you over, that it had an adverse effect. Like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, or like me pitching Sagalo to you.
Oh, I love Sagalo.
Well, I know you love Sagalo, but no, I'm saying. I mean, you said it last night. I'm not telling that. I'm pitching Sagalo to you, and you were like,
No, I want to say it on the record. I've said it. This man loves Brendan Sagalo more than any human being has ever loved me. I wish my wife looked at me even with a fraction the way you look at Brendan and talk about Brendan. I tell Brendan all the time, I text him, I'm like, this is crazy. I'm out with you. You're like, have you seen Sagalo's new clip? Have you seen Sagalo? What did you see that Sagalo was wearing last night? You seen his rap video? I'm like, I like Sagalo fine.
oh, he's the funniest guy.
You love Sagalo. But you're my Sagalo. I'm like, this guy should be he should be writing novels.
And that warms me. To know that you feel about me the way I feel about Sagalo, keep me going for the rest of my life.
I hope so. And you're 10 years younger than me. You'll be at my funeral. You'll be like, we had so many great memories, Phoenix.
Phoenix, can we talk about Phoenix, or is there still a embargo?
Phoenix.
Embargo, not embargo. Statute of limitations. Because I had something terrible happen to me, and I haven't spoken about it.
I mean, you can talk about it. It's not nothing.
Well, I tried to talk about it on your podcast, and you went, ah.
Well,
it was right after. It was right after.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, talk about it. Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name.
All right, don't say the name.
But I think he should be, I mean, even anonymously, this guy should be shamed. Right? I mean, anonymous shame, what even is that? But this guy who was the host for the weekend that you were doing the Tempe Improv, and I was tagging along, he scammed me out of $200.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
Have you told this story?
I never spoke a word of this story. This is your story to tell. This is not my story.
I guess so, but it feels like something that maybe we should have let die with us, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling people, but you should tell people if you want to tell people.
Well, it's embarrassing for me. Basically, this host was buttering me up all weekend.
Turkey.
And like a turkey, like a Christmas goose. And he was saying, I'm the funniest guy, you know, you should be headline. No, he didn't say that, but he was tagging my stuff. He didn't say that. He was tagging my stuff, but he wasn't tagging your stuff. Maybe he did a couple times.
He gave me a couple lines. Yeah. Great hang.
But you've been through, you've seen, I'm new to this. I've been doing comedy 18 months. I've seen.
You're the babe in the woods.
Right, exactly. I am a suckling pig to this guy.
Yeah.
He sees me, he wants to put an apple in my mouth.
You're a mark.
I mean, I'm the ultimate mark. I'm the
Take
new
that,
mark.
Normand.
That's right. Oh man. But this guy, and then at the end of the weekend, you're on stage. Things are going well. You're probably
You're goddamn right.
you're in the twilight of your set.
That was one of the great weekends. That's when I revealed my wife was pregnant to you.
Which, by the way, I mean, you want to get me emotional. I mean, I'm not gonna, I mean,
That was crazy. We kept going to Illegal Pete's. Remember the girl at Illegal Pete's hooked us up? Remember that?
I do. And the fact that you told me, you were like, I haven't told anybody else this. I just was on a Zoom with my family.
You were like the second person to know.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
right.
I can't, I'm gonna, whew.
Yeah, you were one of the first people to know, and then we went to Illegal Pete's.
Oh,
Tell them
man.
about that. Speaking of my underrated talents, I was so charming to this woman.
Come on.
Come on in. I was so charming to this woman. She gave us free food.
Yeah.
She didn't recognize us.
It was amazing.
I just charmed her tits off.
This was not a
Free meal.
This was not a Joe List fan necessarily.
No.
This was somebody
She is
who
now.
she was just someone who you charmed her beyond belief.
And did you love Illegal Pete's?
I did love Illegal Pizza, but it was a rich man's Chipotle.
That's right.
Oh, okay. As
Yeah.
long as you're fine with that.
I love Chipotle, too.
Wasn't like the best thing.
Hi, Jordan. How are you? I mean, this woman's just taking my spot.
You told me to sit down.
Sit down, not jump on the show. What the fuck? Does that mic work? Talk about shaming.
Yeah,
Talk about
we're getting to the
shaming.
end, but I just meant to have a seat over there.
Talk about shaming.
Well, that was
My
crazy.
God,
That
this
was
woman
crazy.
needs to be shamed out of the business.
No, you can come back. That was the craziest thing I've ever
Can we
seen
get her a
anybody
mic
do.
and a camera?
I mean, the camera's not.
This is my big moment. We're telling them how great I am.
I was actually on the verge of tears because I was thinking about how much of a privilege it was for you to tell me about your son,
My beautiful boy,
your imminent son,
Luke,
your
who I
beautiful
named
son.
after you. Luke.
I mean, that would have, if that had happened, which it did happen, but if that had really happened, I would have been.
Luke List. R.I.P.
name.
Wait,
Now-
so do you want to tell the rest of the story?
Yeah, please.
You tell it. You're telling it.
You're on stage. This guy goes, listen, I got to tell you something, man. He brings me in close and he goes, I'm having a terrible family emergency. And I go, but he doesn't specify what it is.
Mm.
But now in retrospect, actually, not even now, 2 hours later, I was like, oh, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
Because-
as soon as we left, you were like, something bad happened.
I know. He goes, I'm having a terrible family emergency. Can you float me $200? And at the time I was like, maybe this guy is broke and he needs to take what's $200 these days? He needs to take an Amtrak to Chicago or something. I don't know. Like,
Amtrak to Chicago from Phoenix. That would be
that's not 200?
1,100.
Okay. So maybe he needs to take a flight from Phoenix to Salt Lake.
Okay, which we also did together. That was our first weekend.
Together. That's right.
By the way, if Steve Rogers didn't cancel on me to go work with Brian Regan,
You're not here.
Forget about it.
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't be a dad.
No.
I mean, that changed the course of our lives. And I haven't seen Steve since.
Yeah, Steve. No one knows where he is. He's like Maura Murray. I'm sorry. We love your family. She was a good lady, or maybe she still is. But
Meanwhile, you and I are going to Halloween parties as a
We're in a horse.
donkey.
Oh my God. So this guy, I won't say his name, but he goes, I need money. I go, all right. I Venmoed him my entire bank account. So this guy, I mean, I rarely drop this card, but I think it's important for the story. I have an Ivy League education.
Yeah, absolutely.
I consider myself a smart guy. I'm a man about
Absolutely.
town. I've been to Europe.
Yes, sure.
I've been to Mexico,
Okay.
been to Canada, been to Vancouver.
Okay, that's the same place.
Yeah. Shut up, Jordan.
But yeah, I mean, you went to Columbia University. By the way, the most expensive university in America.
NYU at the time was, but has Columbia since taken the
Columbia took over, yeah.
cake? I should know that it got, but again, they ain't teaching you street smarts at
No.
college, which you got a degree from the School of Hard Knocks. You didn't go to
Damn
college.
right. I didn't go to a second of college.
You
I
got-
didn't even think about going to college.
Yeah, and so this would have never happened to you. This guy's tagging you, this guy's complimenting you, going, get the hell out of the green room. Meanwhile, I'm giving this guy money. I'm writing him a giant check. I'm giving him everything. And then I find out later, like, we're at breakfast. I'm telling you about this. I'm crying. We call Michael, who's a good buddy of mine, who's a Phoenix comic who lives in LA. And he goes, oh, yeah, that guy, he's a severe gambling addict.
Right now,
He goes, hopefully the Celtics win today, because then you'll get your money back.
and something interesting about that, the night before,
Yeah,
we had all been talking about gambling.
right.
And at one moment, because you always retrospectively, you think about everything. The three of you, me, and him, I was talking about how I'm so grateful I don't have gambling addiction and how
Yes.
hard that must be to have a gambling addiction. Obviously not knowing that he must have been like, triggered by this.
Well, I'll say, I mean, maybe he was, but he was also, you were saying that and he was going, yeah, I know. I can't imagine.
Well, I don't mean
Yeah.
triggered. I mean like, oh shit, this is crazy. They're talking about my thing, whatever.
And then he had the gall to rob me. Now, what's going to happen is people are going to be able to figure out, people are going to go back there and figure out, but you know what? This guy took money from me, and then I had to hassle him. And then I had to, my friend Michael eventually was like, called the guy because he knows the guy, because he used to do this to comics, some of whom are very successful now.
Wow.
And he used to do this to people all the time. And the guy eventually gave me my money back, but I think he didn't do it. He gave me back half initially. Again, it's $200, but it's the spirit of the thing. It's the,
Right.
it's the, what's the
spirit of
expression?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. That's right.
The spirit, I don't know.
The intention
The
or
principle.
it's
the principle.
It's the principle of the thing.
Like Mr. Belding. But the guy's got a severe problem. I hope he goes and gets the help he needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's probably GA meetings.
sure. Of course there are. Last thing, Mr. Belding, I know people who used to do NACAs with him.
Richard Haskins
Apparently he gets after it.
with the women.
No, with the partying. He was like a big,
Oh,
you go to a NACA conference, Mr. Belding's there, people are going, he's partying. He's like, we're going to the bar.
you think he does blow?
I don't know. Who's to say?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I can't comment on that.
That is wild.
Yeah. Maybe even me just saying that whole story that's not defamation. What's he going to do? He's not even a real
Richard
guy.
Haskins?
Yeah. He's
No.
Mr. Belding's like a match.
Say he parties? No.
Yeah, you could say he parties. Who doesn't party? You party. You don't drink, but you party. You like a party.
I love a party. But no, I mean, I think it's only defamation if you were like, that guy fucked my sister right in her
Right.
butt, on Thanksgiving.
And I didn't say anything bad about Maura Murray, did I? Now I'm like, you know her. I feel terrible.
No,
All right.
I don't think we said anything bad.
Well, this was great.
This is the best time of my life. I mean,
Really?
other than the interruption, it was like one of the best.
Did you have a good time?
I
Is
had
this
a great
good
time. Are you
podcast?
kidding?
Is
We're
this a
over.
good
I'm going to miss my spot. I miss my
idea?
baby.
Oh, forget
I
the
missed
baby. Forget
feeding.
the spot.
Are you kidding?
Mr.
All I
Belding.
can think about is when we're going to work together again. I got to put something together. Maybe Springfield, Missouri. I might, maybe.
Oh, I'm opening for you at the. I'm doing my own Netflix festival show on the 10th of May, but I'm opening for you on the 2nd of May at a much bigger venue.
May 2nd. And please get tickets to see us. Regent Theater. It is literally on Skid Row. And I am up against the Sebastian Maniscalco, Bill Burr, Nate Bargatze, Jerry Seinfeld show. They're doing 2 at the Hollywood Bowl.
All 4 of them are doing a show together.
at Hollywood Bowl times 2, 8 and 10. Meanwhile, me and old Luke Bonus are at the Regent Theater on Skid Row.
Can you get your deposit back?
I mean, I'm fucked.
I mean,
So
this is-
please buy tickets. We've already sold like 180 tickets.
Oh, you're
in
gonna.
6
I
months
mean,
out.
all jokes aside, you're gonna sell it out. And Luke Mones and Friends, May 10th in Santa Monica. Nobody's coming. He couldn't do it. It's gonna be.
Did you ask me about it?
Yeah, you said you were out of town.
Out of town. I don't live there.
I know. I was like, you're gonna be gone by the 10th, aren't you? You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You were like, of course.
Absolutely. But if I didn't have a baby, I'd stay because I keep having all these offers that I can't do. Damn.
That's all right. All right.
my
Well,
life.
anything you wanna? I mean, anything you would plug really is not gonna be helped.
This
by
will all be before May 2nd.
This will be, of course, but I just mean like you could plug your stuff.
This
but
will
really,
be huge. I'm a get, dog.
I know you're a get, but I'm saying like this is more a get for me. You plugging your stuff. I should really be plugging my thing, and then you should
Right. Well, go to punchuplive.com
punch up live.
/Joe-list, whatever the hell that is. Sign up for my, whatever the website is. The website is awesome. I'm saying whatever my actual thing is. Go find me on Punch Up Live. Sign up for my email list. Buy the tickets through there. All my web dates are up on there. And that's it. Oh, we should tell Jordan about the guy who was talking about how great she is
Who?
in Tacoma. Maybe you were gone. Anyways, we gotta go.
Wait,
What are we talking about?
Photograph?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dr. Photograph loves you.
He was talking about how great. I pushed back, as a matter of fact. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
He
All right.
loves you, and but yeah, thank you for doing this. Honestly, if I think too much about you and Jordan coming here and taking time out of your day, I will get emotional. So we just have to end.
I know. We went long, and we're
Long.
putting Jordan out. I feel bad.
Makes me feel good. Thank you.
Thank you. Time of my life.